In the hallowed, sunlit halls of Northwood High's art department, Mr. Harrison's classroom was a sanctuary. It was a place of quiet focus, smelling of oil paints, turpentine, and potential. Mr. Harrison himself was a highly respected artist, a man who spoke in quiet, measured tones, but whose passion for the craft burned with a fierce intensity. He had one single, unbreakable rule, a law more sacred than any other: you respect the tools. To him, talent without discipline was just a colorful mess, and disrespecting a brush was the same as disrespecting the art itself. 18-year-old Mark was, by far, the most talented student in his advanced painting class. He had a natural gift, an artist's eye, and an ego to match. He saw himself as a prodigy, a true artist among hobbyists, and he believed the menial, boring rules of cleanup were beneath a person of his immense talent. The tension between master and apprentice had been building for weeks. Mr. Harrison would praise Mark's brilliant brushwork, but then quietly add, "A true artist honors his tools, Mark. Remember that." Mark would just nod, a dismissive smirk playing on his lips, the words flowing past him like water. The final act of disrespect came on a Thursday afternoon. The class had just finished a challenging still life assignment. The bell for the end of the day rang, and Mark's friends were waiting for him by the door. He was in a hurry to leave, while other students meticulously washed their brushes, wiped their palettes, and returned their easels. Mark performed a parody of cleaning. He gave his expensive sable hair brushes a quick, careless rinse under the tap, leaving flecks of acrylic paint clinging to the bristles. He smeared the remaining paint across his palette with a dirty rag and tossed the ruined brushes into the cleaning basin with a clatter, a loud and deliberate act of defiance. He shot a cool, knowing smirk to his friends at the door and sauntered out of the classroom. The room emptied, leaving behind a peaceful, creative silence. Mr. Harrison began his end-of-day ritual, a slow, methodical inspection of each student's station. He moved from one immaculate workspace to the next, a quiet look of satisfaction on his face. Then, he arrived at Mark's station. The satisfied expression vanished, replaced by a look of cold, quiet fury. He saw the streaked, filthy palette. He saw the easel left askew. And then he saw the brushes, his expensive, high-quality brushes, lying in the bottom of the basin, their delicate bristles already beginning to stiffen and gum up with the fast-drying acrylic paint. They were ruined. He picked up one of the brushes, the one he had personally recommended to Mark. He ran his thumb over the stiffening bristles. This was not laziness. This was a statement, a flagrant, arrogant act of contempt for the rules, for the tools, and for him. He looked at the clock on the wall. He knew Mark and his friends would be in the student common room, bragging and laughing. A quiet, dangerous resolve settled in his eyes. He placed the ruined brush down on the messy station with the precision of a surgeon, turned off the classroom lights, and walked out into the hallway. The lesson, it seemed, was not over for the day. He was going to find his star pupil. The student common room was a loud, chaotic space, but it fell quiet as Mr. Harrison appeared in the doorway. He scanned the room, his eyes instantly finding Mark, who was lounging on a sofa, the center of attention as always. "Mark," Mr. Harrison said. His voice was not loud, but it cut through the chatter like a razor. "My classroom, now." The smirk on Mark's face faltered. He saw the look in his teacher's eyes and knew this was not a debate. He excused himself from his friends, a nervous feeling coiling in his stomach, and followed his teacher back down the silent, empty hallway. Mr. Harrison unlocked the art room and flicked on the lights, illuminating the scene of the crime. He pointed to the messy workstation. "Look at this," he commanded. "Is this the work of an artist, or the work of a spoiled child?" He picked up one of the ruined brushes, the bristles now fused into a stiff, useless claw. "This was a tool capable of creating beauty. You have turned it into a piece of garbage. Talent without discipline is just a tantrum, Mark. And what you have done here is not just lazy. It is a profound act of disrespect to the very craft you claim to love." Mark stared at the floor, his cheeks burning with shame. "I'm sorry, sir," he mumbled. "I was in a hurry." "You were arrogant," Mr. Harrison corrected, his voice still quiet but now filled with a cold intensity. "And arrogance requires a humbling, a lesson that is felt, not just heard." He gestured toward the large, locked supply closet at the back of the room. Inside, Mark's head snapped up. He followed his teacher into the cramped, windowless closet. the air thick with the smell of clay and linseed oil. Mr. Harrison reached up to a high shelf and took down a long, flat piece of polished wood. It was a sturdy canvas stretcher, a tool for building the foundation of a painting. "You have disrespected the foundation of this classroom," he said, his voice echoing slightly in the small space. "You will now receive a firm and memorable correction. You will bend over that supply crate." Mark's heart pounded. He was a senior, a star athlete, but in that small, quiet room, under the gaze of his disappointed master, he felt like a small boy. He did as he was told, leaning over the wooden crate and placing his hands on its surface. The first strike of the canvas stretcher was a loud, sharp crack that seemed to shake the very shelves. A bolt of pure, stinging fire exploded across the seat of his jeans. He gasped, his body jolting. "That," Mr. Harrison's voice said, firm and resolute, "is for the disrespect to the tools." Crack. The second blow landed with punishing force, and Mark cried out, "That is for the disrespect to your own talent." Crack. The third and final swat was a definitive, humbling end to his arrogance. "Stand up," his teacher said after a long moment. Mark slowly straightened, his body trembling, his backside aching with a fiery, intense sting. "Your punishment is not finished," Mr. Harrison stated. "First, you will spend the rest of this afternoon attempting to salvage these brushes. It is a slow, difficult task. You will learn the patience you lack." He then laid out the next phase. "And for the next month, you are on studio maintenance. You are no longer on the advanced projects. Your job will be to clean and care for every tool used by every student in this classroom. You will wash their brushes, clean their palettes, and organize this closet. You will learn humility by serving the craft you thought you were above." The next month was the most humbling of Mark's life. He traded his paintbrush for a cleaning rag. He spent his afternoons carefully washing the brushes of freshmen, his hands stained with their beginners' mistakes. He learned the names of students he had never bothered to notice, and saw the genuine effort in their work. One afternoon, long after everyone else had gone home, he was in the art room, meticulously cleaning a set of brushes. Mr. Harrison came out of his office and placed a brand new, high-quality sable hair brush on the table beside him. "I believe," the teacher said quietly, "you have earned this back." Mark looked at the new brush, then at his own clean hands, and finally at his teacher. "Thank you, sir," he said, his voice full of a new, hard-won humility. He had learned that being an artist wasn't about having the most talent. It was about having the most respect for the tools, for the process, and most importantly, for the quiet discipline that turns a gifted boy into a true master.